Hey guys, we're back with our next episode of Sryth, a fantasy text RPG. My numbering was off on that, so I don't know what part we're on. I think I fixed the numbering on YouTube though, in the playlist. Yeah, so last time at the end, I think we were seeing what was going on inside my castle. There's a hidden lair underneath there, and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna continue on with that because there's only so long you can look in the lair each time, or maybe it's just an ongoing thing. Like if it's something that ends, I want to keep going with it. But if it isn't, then whatever. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. But I'm gonna do my upgrades. There was a improve upgrades. I want to improve the ones I have. I keep pressing the wrong button. So hey, thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's go. So you can improve the upgrades. Good. So definitely want to improve the bed. Let's see, interior servants, yes, improve. And then we've done the library with torches. We can improve the stables. And then that's all we can do. We can do 3 days. So once all these are to level 3, then I will think about what else. And then what else is going on. Candles are somewhere around. Let's see. I'm thinking encumbrance is fine. Yeah, we're good. I have a lot of excess miscellaneous stuff, but most of it doesn't really weigh that much. Let's go to the coachman and go back to Durnsing. Actually, what I want to do kind of quick is go to Hawklore, go to the Windless building, and do my daily experience here. I'll take it. And then exit back out, and what I want to do is go back to Durnsing. And we were doing adventures in Durnsing, and I think we finished all the adventures. Interesting. Awesome. So we've done all the adventures in Durnsing. So I say we go on to Colnea. The village of Colnea is a little more than a cluster of small wooden buildings in the middle of a sizable forest clearing. The villagers are mostly woodcutters who cut timber that is then hauled to markets in Talinis and Draldok. An inn and ramshackle tavern are the two largest buildings in the entire village. A one-legged peddler has wares spread out on the table outside the inn. Let's check out the wares. The peddler, a middle-aged man named Siren, smiles as he proudly waves a hand over the table displaying his wares. What you got? You got rusty. Ooh, a large black hat. Oh, a green jacket. Ooh, a purple feather. I mean, why would we buy these things? Give me the jacket too. Buy it. Thanks, guy. Didn't I buy the dice already? Alright, that's it. You have anything else? At first he tells you that what you see in the table is what he has, and when you persist, he casts a glance over his shoulder and cautiously withdraws a bulging leather pouch from his pocket. I can tell you what's in here, said Sir, lowering his voice as he strokes the pouch softly, but I won't say what it is. And I want 100 tokens for it. Come on now, what you say? Okay, give it to me. Hand over the 100 gold tokens, and Siren slowly hands you the bulging pouch. You gravely explore the contents of your hand and shop to find a large sparkling black gem. As you home, you recognize the gem as a Jarek stone. This magical item can be used in conjunction with the Jarek's obelisk to teleport great distances. Oh, sweet. Teleportation. I'm good with teleportation. Let's go to the tavern. You dismay that find Colnea's only tavern, a ramshackle wooden building, and bearing a sign that reads the Broken Hole, is no longer open for business. Peer through the broken window, I can make out a few dust-laden tables and some broken chairs. Wow. Well, that was uneventful. Let's check out High Meadow. There's adventures here anyway. Alright, situated in the southeastern flank of the Hot Hills region of southwest Tisa, the village of High Meadow was since its founding nearly 2 centuries ago, remained a scattered settlement of farmers and tradesmen. Only a small handful of buildings, large as which, as an inn known as Red Wren, make up the center of the remote village. An imposing grey stone fountain stands nearby, steadily trickling sparkling water into a broad star-shaped basin. Oh, that's nice. Visit Jerk's Fountain of Fortune. Investigate the massive claw-shaped standing stone. Alright, let's go to the Red Win. Despite the rather depressing interior of the ramshackle inn, the Red Win boasts of the strongest ales in the region. The innkeeper, a young jovial man who walks with a noticeable limp, is quick to fill you with the latest news that's happened to pass his way. The ale proves to be worth its fierce reputation, though smooth and creamy. The potent brew is among the strongest you've ever tasted. Finish off the flagon. Wow, this got child locks on it. Ooh, got it. And set the empty vessel down on the table. Despite the rather depressing interior of the ramshackle inn, the Red Win. Oh, I already read this. Alright. Nothing going in, let's go to the fountain. The towering grey stone fountain rising out of the star-shaped basin filled with sparkling water is a monument built to honor the master adventurer of Garagax. The fountain's central structure, a massive sculpture depicting a kite shield being cloven by a sword, is engraved with the word honor. 3 streams of glittering water pour out of the triangular opening near the top of the shield and splash down over the imposing piece before plunging into the deep basin at the foot of the fountain. Drinking from the fountain is said to bestow a blessing of good fortune. Okay. Every time I say okay, I think about that SNL skit with Pete Davidson, where he's like just a guy who likes video games and is lazy, and somebody comes along and is like, yeah, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And he's like, okay. Can you get naked? And he's like, okay. And he does it. Leaning over the edge of the basin, you scoop up a handful of glittering water and take several long sips of the sparkling liquid. Almost instantly, a strange feeling wells up inside of you, but the sensation swiftly passes, leaving you in the possession of renewed vigor and a clarity of purpose. Guys, I just noticed I'm ranked 69. Alright. In melee too. Overall and in melee. This is hilarious. In the top 10 of weaponry, slashing, and woodsmanship. I was trying to get the other weaponry, the last thing left. That's why I was doing this stuff at Sryth, but it wasn't working out for me, so I was like, fine, bye. The ancient magic of the fountain's water is now coursing through you for the next 24 hours, providing its wondrous benefits. So every 24 hours I should come back here and drink from the fountain, is what you're saying. Let's investigate the standing stone. You step into a claw-shaped standing stone and discover that the massive piece of rock is actually protruding out of the ground. The stone's near-perfect curves and smooth surfaces make it difficult to believe that it's entirely a natural construct. From all angles, the stone looks like a talon of some gargantuan beast poking up through the earth. Engraved near the base of the stone, just inches above the ground, is a curious symbol. What's be the symbol? The symbol engraved near the base of the standing stone of the claw is that of a claw enclosed in a triangle. You recognize the marking as the scar of Akindar. Akindar. Okay, I'm not reading this. We've come across it before. Alright, let's leave. Alright, let's check out the adventures. There's one adventure. Listed below are the adventures currently available here. Alright, Flight of the Elementalist. The renegade wizard Lorosnor is a wanted man. For 2 weeks, you pursued the murderous spellcaster through the rugged Heart Hills region, seeking to capture him before he can yet again escape and rejoin his band of cutthroat brigands. Having abandoned almost all hope at catching up with the wicked Elementalists, your spirits are buoyed when, upon entering High Meadow, you learn that he was sighted pass through the village less than a day ago. Let's go! For 2 weeks, you've been tracking the renegade wizard Lorosnor, as he's made his way across the Heart Hill region in the southwest Tisa. Only once, on the outskirts of Dursing, did you manage to spot him, but under the cover of sudden and violent thunderstorm, the elusive outlaw gave you the slip. Despite your ill luck, you doggedly kept up your pursuit, determined to prevent the murderous elementalist from evading justice and rejoining his notorious band of cutthroat brigands. At last, nearly a fortnight after the hunt began, you about to abandon all hope of ever catching up with the cagey wizard when suddenly, upon entering High Meadow, you learn that he was sighted passing through the village less than a day ago. A ruddy-faced farmer who serves as the head of High Meadow Militia tells you that Loraznor, okay, Loraznor was spotted headed up the ridge to the east of the village. He tells you that since the mage seemed to pose no direct threat to the village, he was not pursued. The farmer readily admits, however, that neither he nor the 4 other members of the militia gave any consideration to confronting the wanton mage. We did hear, of course, that there's a bounty of 500 gold for his capture, he says. A nice sum, to be sure, but not worth facing down a wizard over. The farmer tells you that Loraznor may be making for a ring of tall stones at the top of the ridge. It'd be easy to hide out up there, he says. You can see what's coming up the ridge after you, and there aren't many who dare to wander up that way to begin with. After thanking him for the information, you bid him farewell and set out at once for the ridge east of High Meadow, hopeful that you will at least have a chance to overtake and apprehend a cunning and dangerous fugitive. It's mid-afternoon when you reach what you estimate is halfway point of the steep and treacherous ridge east of High Meadow. The ascent has been unforgiving, and more than once you nearly toppled from the back of the tall, thickly forested spine of the rock and earth. Suddenly, as you pass out of a dense evergreen thicket, you stumble upon the hastily abandoned remains of a small camp. The well-doused remnants of a fire and makeshift bed of leaves and fir boughs immediately draw your attention, but it's calm, unwavering sound of a man's voice from your right that sends your pulse racing. The chase cannot continue. I'll pay you the bounty you're after. We'll go our separate ways here and now. You turn to the voice and find yourself staring directly at a man who you've been tracking for the last 2 weeks. Standing less than 10 yards away, his grimy face, tangled brown locks, and ragged clothing serve as evidence of his long and frantic trek through the wilds as the mage known as Loraznor. The fugitive spellcaster, his demeanor betraying what you can only surmise to be profound fear, repeats his request, telling you that he will pay you the bounty of 500 gold if you abandon your attempt to bring him justice. Certainly you're willing to make such a deal with a man notoriously dangerous as Loraznor. Now, your refusal elicits immediate and angry response from Loraznor. The mage scowls and swiftly throws his hand skyward, muttering rapidly as he closes his eyes. Before you quite know what's happening, the ground beneath your feet erupts, sending you staggering backward amidst a shower of earth and stone. 2 towering elementals, behemoths of earth and rock, claw their way out of the jagged crevice and stomp towards you. Their cavernous mouths scratched wide, and their massive fists poised to pound you flat. Out of the corner of your eye, the fearsome pair of earth elementals draw up around you, and you spot Loraznor hastily making his way toward the summit of the ridge. Gosh! With a deafening roar, the towering elemental collapses in a heap of the earth and rock. The second, the fearsome behemoth, his stone fist rising in the air, stomps forward and attacks. As the second earth elemental collapses, its toppled bulk sending a tremor through the ground beneath your feet, you leap forward and rush along the spiraling ridge, swiftly resuming your pursuit of the fleeing mage. You reach the ridge summit and find Loraznor winded from his rapid ascent, leaning up against the outer edge of a ring of tall stones. The very ring of stones described to you by the farmer back in High Meadow. The renegade mage, his grimy face now bathed in sweat, kisses and throws of his hand. I gave you the chance to end this, he says, scowling. Now that I detest the measures you've made me resort to. And before you can move any closer to him, ghastly, wailing shriek erupts overhead. You turn your gaze upward, just in time to see 4 soaring air elementals screeching down out of the sky. The first of the fearsome elementals is instantly upon you, howling with rage as it attempts to tear you to pieces. Okay. With a piercing shriek, the first air elemental perishes as eternal soul returns to the wind at which it was born. Howling wildly, the second soars down at the sky and attacks. Or he's dead. And then, without a moment's reprieve, you find yourself engaged with the third. And then, the fourth and final wind being surges down out of the sky, howling wildly as it attempts to tear you apart. How rude. As the last of the 4 air elementals vanishes, Loraznor drops to his knees and presses his hands into the earth. He slowly raises his head and fixes you with a weary, defeated gaze. Then, in a move that stuns you, the motorist outlaw pleads for his life, begging you to capture him alive. With no desire to harm him in the wake of his surrender, you swiftly bind his arms and start him on what will be a long and difficult march down the spine of the steep ridge. "You're wise and just," he says, as the two of you begin the arduous descent. "That's far more than I'll ever be able to say of myself." Sounds like he about to do something. You return to High Meadow with the bound and defeated Larosno in your company. Draws both the praise and curiosity of the villagers, who are eager to see the dangerous fugitive whose days on the run came to an end just outside their quiet settlement. Less than 12 hours after his capture, a mounted regiment of border rangers passing through the village as part of a routine patrol of the region gladly take the wanted renegade into their custody. The leader of the rangers tell you that you can collect your well-earned bounty on Larosno by visiting the outpost, which lies 2 days west of High Meadow. After thanking you again and attending to their horses, the rangers part from the village with their newly acquired captive until ultimately bound for Talinas, where the murderous sorcerer will at last face justice. As they pass out of sight along the road, you hope it's the last you will ever see of the elementalist known as Larosno. Before leaving the village, you stop into the settlement's small inn, a ramshackle building on its western edge known as the Red Wren. After enjoying a flagon of particularly strong ale and the inn's rather depressing comedy, you bid farewell to its proprietor and once again set off on your way. As promised, 2 days west of High Meadow, you reach the outpost where you receive a hero's welcome from the small band of border rangers stationed there. You learn that the rangers bringing Larosno to Talinas passed through here only a short while ago, telling the comers that you wouldn't be far behind. The captain of the outfit, a greying man who tells you you'll soon be running out after the other rangers pay you the bounty, congratulates you on the daring capture. After sharing a meal with the rangers, during which you gave them a full account of your encounter with the renegade mage, you bid them farewell and once again set off on your way, heading west and north along the winding road that will ultimately bear you to Dunsing, where your hunt for the outlaw spellcaster began. There it is. No more adventures here. Alright, so we've been to Huckler, we've been to Dunsing, we've been to Colonia. I mean, these all seem like small places. The village of Marl's Wood. Oh, it's a village though. I just thought it was like a forest. It's named after its founder, an exploring woodsman named Marl, who established a trading post here nearly 300 years ago. The village has changed very little since that time and has remained primarily a haven for woodcutters, a few farmers, and a handful of tradesmen. The people of Marl's Wood are a hardy, rugged bunch who are friendly to their neighbours and welcoming to strangers. Oh, that's nice. Let's go to the inn. The Woodside Inn and Tavern is well but deserted. It appears that the hard-working people of Marl's Wood have the precious little time to spend in their village's sole public house. The tavern keep a heavy grey-haired woman named Villy greets you warmly and serves you up a mug of hot spiced cider. When you attempt to pay her for the drink, she steadfastly refuses to accept your gold. "I bet news from afar will suffice," she smiles. You spend the next small while conversing with her about your recent travels. Let's talk some more. Billy tells you that there's a recent tragedy in the village. You learn that the daughter of a miller, a young lady named Loa Bella, has recently gone missing. All indications are that she somehow wandered into a cave in the far forest known by the locals as the Bat Cave. "It's a terrible place, and no mistake about that," said Billy. We're forbidden to enter it, even if someone is foolhardy enough to try the entrance as wrought by magic that keeps the unwary out. The word is that poor young Loa Bella somehow got herself into that awful place. But if you want my thoughts, I say it's more like than not that she was taken into it. You ask Billy what else she can tell you about the cave, and she says the oldest tales in Marl's Wood speak of a terrifying bat creature that haunts the cave. Billy tells you how to get to the cave, but warns you against going there. The legend says that the creature flies out at night and looks for victims. She said with a shudder, "You'll not catch me within a mile of that place. You might ask our rector Kellis more about it. It saddens me to say it, but I don't think he will ever see young Miss Loa Bella again." You thank for the information and bid her farewell. In the main section, I was looking for back here about location. Well, let's talk to the rector. Kellis, the village rector, an elderly man with a pronounced limp, regards you with a friendly smile as you enter the meeting house. He is quick to tell you that devastating tragedy has befallen the village, as the miller's daughter, a young lady by the name of Loa Bella, has gone missing. He tells you that he fears she somehow ended up in the cave just outside the village, a cave known as in Marl's Wood as the Bat Cave. You ask Callus about the cave, and he tells you that local legends have long held that it is home to a fearsome winged creature that flies at night seeking victims upon which to feast. Many years ago, a mage was commissioned to ward the mouth of the cave, he says, so no one would even wander in there, either unwittingly or out of curiosity, but long-standing decree, no villager is permitted to enter the cave, and indeed the glyphs of the ward make certain decrees of hell. Callus tells you, however, that he has the means of making someone immune to the power of the glyphs, thus granting the ability to enter the forbidden cave. The law of our village forbids any villager from obtaining this immunity, he tells you, though that does not apply to outsiders such as yourself. I cannot in good conscience ask you to venture to the place, but I can see for myself that you are an adventurer, or I am greatly mistaken, however. But only said, no, I dare not ask you. It is more than obvious to you that Callus wishes you to seek immunity from the warning glyphs in this cave and search for Lower Bella. Let's do it. The very weight of this matter lifts from my heart, he says, exhaling deeply and placing a hand on your shoulder. And you are certain I shall grant you the immunity and give praise to your Father whose guiding hand has led you to us in our hour of need. You tell Callus that you wish to receive immunity and that you will certainly take a look at the back cave for the missing girl. Then it shall be, he says, nodding. Callus retrieves a latched wooden box where it produces a short iron wand. He waves the instrument over you and quickly places it back in the box. The mage who many years ago warded the mouth of the cave, preventing an unknowing soul from wandering into it, left behind this little piece, he says, patting the top of the box. He closes the lid and latches. As I said, allows us to render someone immune to the rewarding power of the glyphs that's outside the cave. Callus tells you that you may now pass the glyphs into the cave. You listen carefully as he describes to you how to get to the cave from the village. Well, now we have an adventure. Travel. Back cave. You stand before the mouth of a cave hidden deep in the forest outside the nearby village of Marl's Wood. For as long as anyone can remember, the cave has been known as the Bat Cave to the villagers. Legends tell of a fearsome bat creature that resides in the cave and ventures out at night to prey upon men and beasts. Directly in front of the cave stand two large rocks, each adorned with strange glyphs. From what you learned in Marl's Wood, the daughter of the village miller, a young woman named Lower Bella, it is thought to have somehow ended up in the cave. While this is indeed the prevailing opinion, there is none within the village who dare to enter the forbidden lair. Except for me. Step toward another cave. You're about to enter the dark cave. At any point you retreat, you'll automatically abandon the scenario and will have to wait for it to reset. The scenario reset every 60 minutes. Okay. So can't leave till we find her. The moment you step from the cave, a foul odor assails your senses. While you cannot pinpoint the source of the unpleasant smell, you're certain that it wafts out of the darkness that lies before you. With an occasional sound of things moving unseen in the shadows ahead, beyond the range of your light, you proceed with extreme caution to the dark interior of the cave. Into the cave! Black bat creature! Already? You bravely press on, heading even deeper into the cave. Then the sudden unnerving flap of large leathery wings from the darkness freezes you in your tracks. You instinctively assume a defensive stance and watch in horror as a terrifying dark shape looms out of the shadows. A large two-legged bat creature, a massive set of black wings folded on its back, and its fingertips outfitted with razor-sharp claws, snarls viciously, revealing a mouthful of needle-like fangs as it steps into your pool of light. The thick black fur that covers most of the horrid creature's torso is the same hue as its wings. Without warning, the hideous creature rushes forward and attacks. Or he did. That creature scratches its wings wide. Scratches wide its fang-filled jaws and emits a blood-curdling death cry as it slumps to the floor of the cave at your feet. You step back, backing up, and gaze down at in revulsion as the bloodied remains of the hideous winged being. Yeah, I don't want any of that stuff. You bravely press on, heading yet deeper into the cave, and this sudden unnerving flap. It's the same. So, was the other one black too? I think so. You got money this time. Watch out for Alvari artifacts. No, see, this one's grey now. So there's black ones and there's grey ones. Wow, this one has a lot more. Keep going. It says the same thing every time. Either it says they're black or grey. Keep on, keep on. Ooh, golden one. Golden wings. Fun. Okay, this one has more money. They're like, there's a bat creature in there. Like, you mean there's a million bat creatures in here. Keep going. Ooh, silver. Awesome. How interesting. Quick combat. I didn't mean to press that. Keep going. Crimson. They got every color under the sun in here. Keep going. Ooh, we getting bank. See, it says the same thing except just changes the color. So I'm not gonna reread the same thing. Oh! Suddenly a cloud of thick black smoke fills the cave passage. Oh, they're trying to snuff me out. Keeping your eyes and mouth closed, you struggle forward through the thick smoke and soon emerge from the deadly cloud. You bravely press on, heading even deeper into the cave. The end of the cave passage looms ahead, and your pulse quickens when you spot a large shadowy figure stepping into the middle of a wide, uneven corridor. As you draw closer, you realize the figure is another of the hideous bat creatures, though this one is much larger than those you previously encountered. You also noted with some degree of alarm that the winged bat wears a flowing bat robe. It's a person bat. The robot bat creature, larger and even more hideous than the others, spreads its wings and steps to the edge of the pool of light. He grins wickedly, exposing a mouthful of needle-like fangs. You, just behind the fearsome being laying motionless on the floor is the body of a young woman. You assume that it is Loa Bella. A hero, is it? Sounds a creature. Surely you do not wish to battle me, Toalf, Lord of Bats. I can assure you that the girl is not worth your most chivalrous intentions. She is a bride utterly unworthy of my hand. Suddenly, Toalf waves his hand in sound of splintering rock from above and makes your blood run cold. You shoot your gaze in the ceiling of the cave, and a massive stalactite has broken free and is dropping straight on you. Destruction. The massive fang rock quivers and explodes, harmlessly showering you with those small stone fragments. Toalf cackles. A noble but foolish gesture to stand with the rats of the village, sneers Toal, as he flexes his razor-sharp claws and steps slowly towards you. This realm was once the home of my kin, and so shall it be again, even should it take 1,000 years. It will take more than a sorry hero to prevent that which destiny prescribes. With that, Toalf rushes you and attacks. Toalf, the little bat, staggers back, clutching his wounds as he howls on it. You are a fool, he insists with the measure of fangs that fill his mouth. I shall return, and my vengeance will be brutal. A column of dark smoke rises up from the ground at Toalf's feet. Step back out of the range of the pungent beams. When the smoke clears, there's no longer a sign of the Bat Lord. Without further delay, you rush to Loa Bella's side and, much relieved to discover that she only appears to be unconscious, you swiftly pick her up and prepare to exit this foul lair. With Loa Bella draped over your shoulder, you make your way out of the cave, cautiously skirting around the gruesome remains of the strange bat creatures you slew in the way. At long last, you emerge from the eerie confines of the shadowy lair into the welcome of light of day, and as the waiting arms of the sizable gathering of elated villagers. Loa Bella's father, the white-haired miller of Marl's Wood, rushes up and takes hold of his daughter. With tears welling in his eyes, he thanks you repeatedly, saying that his prayers have been answered. Together with several of the others, he takes Loa Bella back to the village, where she is destined to make a complete recovery from her ordeal. The village rector, Callus, touches you and commends you on your brave rescue of Loa Bella. To relate to all of us to again have her back safely, he says, his eyes now and again straying nervously to the dark mouth of the nearby cave. How she got in there past the warnings under some mystery. When she's able, perhaps she can explain to us. It's quite troubling. You stroll back to the village with Callus. There we go. Well, we finished it. He promises to be back. I hope not. So that's our quick exploration of the Southwest Tisa. We got like 4 more to go, and so we'll do those in the next episode. See if there's any adventures there, anything really interesting to discover. So until then, thank you so much for hanging out and joining me. Until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Peace.